Taha has been known as a bitter and bold critic of the Pakistani establishment, especially the military. In recent weeks, he has highlighted enforced disappearance in the country. While there is condemnation from around the world, the Pakistani establishment has remained mum on the developments. The Pakistan High Commission refused to answer repeated calls from WION. Only human rights and media organizations in Pakistan have condemned the incident. The Rawalpindi Islamabad Union of Journalists has expressed serious concern and demanded a thorough investigation into the attempted kidnapping. In a statement, the union has said that they're worried about the safety of journalists, and the Human Rights Watch and journalists too have voiced their concern. The Amnesty International said in a statement, and I quote, "The beating and attempted abduction of Taha Siddiqui is the latest in a deeply worrying pattern of attacks on journalists in Pakistan. This is the third case in recent months when a journalist has been targeted by violent attackers while traveling by car. There has thus far been a failure by the authorities to identify the perpetrators, let alone bring them to justice. Pakistani journalists have a right to carry out their work freely and without fear. Journalism is not a crime, but attacking journalists is. These crimes must be immediately and effectively investigated. All journalists must be protected from violence and intimidation. And there must be a clear and unequivocal commitment by the Pakistani authorities to end impunity for attacks on journalists." Asad Hashim of Al Jazeera tweeted, and I quote, "With Taha Siddiqui right now, it is a miracle that he escaped. He was beaten, threatened with death, and his belongings taken away. This is unacceptable. Journalism is not a crime." Lawyer Yasser Latif Hamdani also tweeted, and I quote again here, "As a patriotic Pakistani who supports the state, I'm shocked at the treatment meted out to Taha Siddiqui. This is not what our state or its institutions should stand for. Freedom of press is a constitutional fundamental right. We must be a nation of laws, not tyranny." Taha had filed a petition in the Islamabad High Court last May over alleged harassment by the Federal Investigation Agency. The High Court had directed the FIA to stop harassing the journalist.
Four guys came out. They were all armed. They had AK-47s. One of them had a pistol. They came out and they came to my side of the car. I was sitting at the back on the left side, and they opened the door and they started to pull me out and drag me out. And I was like, "What have I done?" I was like, "Excuse me, guys. It was you who stopped the car." I thought it was a robbery, or it was perhaps, a road rage incident. But at that time, one of them said, "What do you think of yourself? Do you think you're somebody?" Like something on those lines he said to me in English. Very well spoken, very proper accent English. And that's when I realized that something else is going on. And I realized that I was being abducted. Four guys came out. They were all armed.
Thrashed. WION's Pakistan Bureau Chief Taha Siddiqui, humble, a humanist, honest. Taha Siddiqui, the voice of Pakistan.
AK-47s.
Taha spoke amid the din.
Being issued a visa and a date has been decided.
Taha questioned Pakistan's military's grin. The man who exposed forced abduction.
Is incarcerated right now.
Himself exposed to lurking danger in Islamabad. He questioned Pakistan's foreign policy. He questioned the plight of minorities.
Community.
His reports irked the government. His insight rattled Pakistan intelligence. A dozen men were sent. Taha's abduction attempted. Taha escapes this time, but can Pakistan's deep state escape scrutiny? Continuous coverage only on WION.